We're going to go over what to do when it's a crank no start. The first thing is you don't want to kill the battery. Battery life is your best friend. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to give power to the fuel pump. Your electric fuel pump. You can hear it's humming and vibrating quite loudly. Make sure there's power coming to it. This one's really wet. That means air is probably getting in from here. I have to change it. Okay, so there's two wires coming out the back. So this is your electric fuel pump. This pumps fuel all the way to the fuel filter housing. You have to make sure that this is working. This is what pressurizes the fuel system. So there's two wires coming out of here. There's red and yet orange. Just make sure, follow the wires, make sure the connection's good. It gets its power from here. It has to be grounded properly. Wiggle some wires, inspect the wires. And this has to be, this provides power as well. It's common that the fuel pump could be malfunctioning. If you might be out of fuel too, the engine might be out of fuel. The way you test this is you just poke a little wrench or a little rock in this bleeder valve and you'll hear the fuel pump. Listen to the sound of the fuel pump. You might hear it change sounds. It might sound like air is coming into the fuel pump. So watch, if this blows a bunch of air out and the pump changes sounds, it means you're out of fuel. Like it has to blow a lot of air. So that's the first thing to check is your fuel pump. So we're just going to check for air. So it's a steady stream, so it means there's no air. But if there's a little air bubbles, sometimes that's all it takes to get it going. So if you're out of battery, you're going to need to charge or boost the truck. There's booster cables behind the seat. And always use this battery, not this battery, to boost it. So you put your red booster cable here and your black booster cable here. Red is positive. So if your battery is dead, before you try and get it going, let it charge for 10 minutes. 10 minutes is pretty good. 15 max. Okay, so take this off. It's literally just a plastic hose. You have to twist it and it'll kind of pop off. And so if you got a helper, the helper can crank, but I like to do this alone. You crank, and at the same time that you crank, your other hand sprays a shot of ether in here. Now, I'm gonna show you how to spray the ether. You want to be really gentle with this. So you just want to do a little squirt like this. This is how you want to spray. Okay, that's it. You just spray like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. The reason for that is you'll see. Okay, this is a very important note if you're trying to start this and you're using the ether and the crank. If there's air in the lines, or if you saw air bubbles come out of here, it means there's an airlock. It means there's air, there's air trapped in here, basically. There's air trapped in your fuel pump. The fuel pump reservoir thing. And when you do ether and the fuel is not being delivered to the injectors because of air being trapped, it's gonna your engine's gonna crank and it's gonna go whir, 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 whir. It's gonna, if you spray too much ether, it's gonna whir, whir, whir. The engine will be working against itself to try and turn over. So it's not always because your batteries are completely dead. If you spray ether and you have air in the lines, sometimes that'll just cause the engine to turn over really slow because it can't combust it and it has to push it. The cylinders have to compress against the ether inside the cylinder, and then it has to keep pushing it up and down until it goes out the exhaust valve. So very important when you're just to do little squirts. And sometimes if you have air stuck in the lines, it won't actually get it running, but it can definitely help if your batteries are high with lots of cranking power and you just squirt a little bit. This is a trick that almost always works for us. Ian McDonald knows how to do this. So if you're really stuck, what you do is you unplug these. You need to have battery life to do this. You can leave this wire plugged in. So the fuel pump is grounded, and if the key's on, this, I think even maybe if the key's off, this will power the solenoid inside the fuel pump. So if you touch the inside of the fuel pump to the body, it'll like short out the battery a little bit. There's 3 bolts, one here, here's the other one on the exact opposite side, and here's one right here. So this is 10 millimeters. I'm removing it here.
Could be 8 millimeters.
Careful not to strip any bolts there. So you remove these bolts. Oh man, there's a washer, okay, be careful. There's 2 washers, I just dropped one.
There's 2 washers, be careful, I just dropped one.
I'll grab the other one. Working and it's stuck on closed. Don't have any issues. Okay, so now that everything's unbolted, we can just lift this right up. And you see it's loaded with fuel. What you do is you turn on the fuel pump. Okay, so if you plug this in, the fuel pump will start. Okay, I'm gonna start the engine with this thing off. I got both plugs in. Okay, so this lever, if you pull it this way, it revs the engine. If you push it that way, it shuts off your engine. So fuel shut off is this way. So you want to make sure when this pump goes in, you're pushing this black bar that way and not pulling it this way. Okay, so all we're gonna do is we're gonna start the truck with the wrench, and then we're gonna put the cap, we're gonna gently back on, and it should shut off the truck. Make sure it's clean. Okay, so I put it back on and it shut off the truck. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, this hook is gonna naturally sit behind, between this little round tube and this. I'm gonna point right to it. You have to know exactly. I'm gonna dip my screw in it. So the hook is gonna come in right here, behind this hook. So now all we gotta do is put the bolts back in, and it should start and run fine. The reason why I shut off is because this bolt is what grounds it to the body. So once this is grounded, it should activate the on switch for the fuel. So let's try it. Put these bolts back in. Make sure you got your 1% battery. So remember, put all your bolts back. Make sure they all have 2 washers. Before you start the engine, be prepared to pull this off, or even cut it off if you have to. Be prepared to cut this. If you cut this line, it'll shut off the fuel. It should shut off the engine. Or have a wrench here. If you crack this line, it should shut off the engine. Also have your buddy have something ready to cover up the air, just in case. So put this back on, and if the truck has started with the cap off, it'll start with it back on. This is your ground. You should see sparks when you put this in when the key's on.